So you've seen me do this here, and you're starting to get the idea, I hope. So now I need to also slice this. So that could be the slice for our services. And I can zoom if I want to make sure I get it exactly how I want it. And I probably, I'm just going to go ahead and go for this blue bar too since I did the other one. We'll just stay consistent. And this one was tricky, so I'm going to zoom in to try to make sure that I don't get the extra row pixels on the bottom. There we go. This bar over here is good already, but this one isn't. And to make sure I snap correctly, I'm going to click on my Content BG layer and drag this over to it. There we go. So now that's good. And I could slice this now. I could just re-import it later, but I'm going to go ahead and slice it now. Might as well. Oh, except I'm not, because if I do slice it now, it's going to mess up and slice those in half. So that's not good for right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this chunk now. And go back to my slice tool. Slice from guides. File save for web. Click on the two parts that I want. So this one, and hold shift and click that one. Save, because it looks fine. And this one will be main. We'll call it main for sort of the main contents. And I need to make sure that I have selected slices once again so I don't get all of everything. So that should be good, so I'll go ahead and undo. And now if I go to my images in my CloudShare review, I have main. So we'll call this main blue bar and main R services. Should probably be underscores so I stay consistent with my original banner. It doesn't really read underscores as spaces. Underscores are more like, I guess, dividers. So it's not like two words that are connected. It's like two separate things. There we go. And I guess my last thing for now, because I don't really need this. This is just a blue box. And I don't really need any of this stuff because this is just a very, very pale purple box. I don't need this because this is just a pale purple box on top of everything else. I don't need that gray. I don't need this blue because I can recreate all of them in HTML. I could even recreate this if I wanted to in HTML. But I've decided not to. Just because I think it'll be a little bit easier just to do it as a spacer for now. So the last thing, I want this image to be sliced. Now once again I need to switch layers. So here's my image. So I'm going to switch layers so that way these will snap to the edges. So snap, 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 and we're good. I could get rid of these, but it doesn't really matter because I don't have to get rid of them because I just don't have to select them when I'm doing the save for web. So slice from guides, file save for web, click my image here. If it was further down and I couldn't find it, I could grab this hand to pull over to get the selected part that I want. But we're good. So save, and we'll just do main. We'll just do main once again. And selected slices on. We'll save. I will undo because I don't want those slices to stay there. Zoom out. Everything looks good. I don't see any concerns. Everything looks fine. I've got my layers still. Nothing is cut up. Everything looks fine. So I can go ahead and close out of Photoshop. Yeah, it's fine. You can save it. And you don't have to save it if you don't want to. I did a few things before I started to slice stuff up that I didn't show you. So, I could have lost stuff if I didn't save it. But you should probably save in between before doing your slices. So now I've got the images that I need to create my website. And you might say, well, you don't have enough stuff. How are you going to create that? But remember, the Mario video that you guys have been looking at, those Mario clues, you're starting to think about tables in a different way. You can rebuild this mock-up that I just closed and I'm now reopening. You can rebuild it. You can use tables to create this if you are clever with how you do things. So what you need to do is you need to imagine this not as a big giant graphic. You need to instead imagine it in like columns and rows, or rows and columns, and think about how to rebuild it. So how would I rebuild this? So to me, this is a background. This is a page background here. And this in the middle, that's my table. My table is right here in the middle. And this table has 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, maybe, 4 rows, 5 rows, 6 rows. That's one way that I could do this. And so it's just a single table with 1 column with 6 rows so far. Now the issue is, how do I do this? So I said that this was its own row here, that this was like row 4. So how do I do this? So to me, and we don't really do this anymore, but it was used so much in the time period that we're talking about, in the late 90s, early 2000s. Even to the mid 2000s, a lot of people use this still, even when it wasn't recommended anymore. This would be a table inside of this table, and maybe even a table inside of that table. So if this is a table inside of the first table, we have 1 big row, and this is a column, and this is a column, and this is a column. Now we could simplify that. We could have just made this 1 big table and row, 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 row with 3 TDs inside of it, and row and row. You just then have to make sure that you do column span as 3 for each of the other things, so that way you don't end up with weird cut off stuff. Now inside of this, whether you want to make it 3 TDs in your first table or you want to make it its own new table, you probably need another table here. And so you've got a table inside of this table, or inside of this 3 set of TDs. So here's a little table here with probably a row, and then these could just be 4 images, and then probably a row and a row. That's how I think I would do it. And this over here, this could be another table. We could drop that in as another table, or we could just try to use regular HTML for it. I'd probably use regular HTML for it because we can color this TD to be this color, and it's fine, it will go the whole height. The reason this has to be its own table is because it doesn't go all the way down. We cannot easily make this empty space here without having its own table inside of that. So I'm actually going to build this as a table-based page, and I'm going to upload it so you can actually see the code that I used. So after watching this video, go ahead and check out that link, and you'll see how I did it.